Black bears have survived by adapting to take anything that comes their way. From meat to sweet, they'll eat it. But their diet, coupled with their large size, has committed them to a life in the slow lane. And that's brought its own set of family problems. Big animals with slow-growing babies have to look after them for a long time. In the case of the female black bear and her cubs, 2.5 years. 2.5 years of guarding and defending. Defending against, in particular, male black bears. They will kill any young males they catch, presumably to reduce the number of future rivals. A receptive female without young is a rare find. And if this female loses all her young, she may well breed with him. Male black bears are therefore savagely unpaternal. So when the male gets too close, the cubs are dispatched up a tree. And the mother retreats to the forest. The male bear, though, is too heavy to climb after the cubs. Being big is a double-edged sword. A few thousand years ago, bears were at their biggest and were the first to come into contact with man. Primitive cave drawings depict huge bears, punctured by spears, with blood pouring from their mouths. Not so monstrous as those, today the Kodiak is the largest of the grizzlies, or brown bears. Weighing in at nearly half a ton and standing at more than 3 meters tall, it's the biggest living carnivore. The epitome of a grizzly bear, massive and sometimes ferocious. Although they've come a long way from their dog-like roots, grizzlies have retained some of the characteristics associated with dogs. Despite their size, they can turn in amazing bouts of speed and endurance, especially when running after a meal. The sheer size and bulk of the grizzlies has forced them to rely mostly on a vegetarian diet. Tubers, roots, fruit and berries take a great deal of time to collect. Bears spend most of their day feeding. Brown bears tend to live in the vast wildernesses of the north. They used to range over most of Eurasia. Now, except for a few isolated pockets, they've been wiped out by man. Some of those remaining populations live in North America, But in a modern world, it's their own slow birth rate that continues to haunt them. Their size and diet has gone against them. A female produces just 1 or 2 cubs every 4 or 5 years. Even the healthiest and most diligent mother is unlikely to rear more than 8 young in her lifetime. The picture then for the male grizzly is even worse than for his black bear counterpart. With dogged endurance, he has to roam vast areas in search of receptive females. Because of the female's enormous investment in her cubs, she will vigorously defend them. It'll be 8 to 10 years before they make her a grandmother. Any bear that comes too close is seen as a threat, particularly a male. So, once again, size leads to violent conflict between the sexes. Here, though, there are no trees for the young to escape up. So, the mother simply sees off the invader. The female may be only 2/3 the weight of a male, but it's not worth him sticking around for a fight when she's protecting her young, the repository for her genes. The final part of the bear's story has an incredible twist. For just 150,000 years ago, a group of grizzlies living in the snowy wastes of the north reversed their vegetarian hallmark and reverted to carnivory. A postcard from London, as little as 70,000 years ago, would have looked very different. The polar ice caps covered Britain and most of northern Europe. Polar bears are the most recent innovation in the natural history of the bears. Their adaptation to this hostile environment is quite extraordinary. It's been made, in evolutionary terms, at breakneck speed. A group of their ancestors found an easy meal in seals. Easy, that is, if you can adapt to the heat in the kitchen, or in this case, the cold in the fridge. Protected from the cold by thick fur and layers of fat, this half-ton of muscle and blubber can scoop a seal out of the water and kill it in the same blow. Because their massive forepaws are partially webbed, polar bears can swim considerable distances. In the blinking of an eye, the bears had done it again, adapting their diet to take any new food going. The final chapter of the carnivore story is rather different. 38 million years ago, as we've seen, the bears opted for giantism, sustained by fruit and nuts.